the back roll on the rings. That is the topic of today's video. Let's get into it. Let's talk equipment. To do a backwards roll on the rings, you're going to need some rings. So these are my rings. Check them out. 32mm timber rings by a company called 5 Billion. I will leave a link to them in the description below. You can get them on Amazon, nice and cheap. They have a nice big fat clip, easy to put up and down. Next, I recommend you get yourself a stretchy band. This can help with the spotting, which we're going to get into in just a moment. But before we do, prerequisites. Prerequisites for the back roll, or prerequis as I call them, are you should be able to do a muscle up. That will teach you the false grip and also how to get above the rings. You should also be able to do a front roll. I don't think that's absolutely essential, but it's easier to learn the front roll first, so I recommend starting there. Then let's take a look at the back roll, the mechanics of it, and I will give you some supplementary drills if it's completely out of reach at the moment that will get you stronger and make it more accessible. But make sure you have a good false grip and a good muscle up, please. The thing about the backwards roll is, yes, there is strength. You need a lot of strength for this, particularly through the biceps, but there's also a lot of timing. There is a skill component, and if you get the kip just right, it makes it a hell of a lot easier on you. So let's break it down. Let's break it down nice and slow just to see what's going on with the backwards ring roll. So if you're familiar with the front support hold, we can start from that position. We can lower into our dip, similar to when we're in the eccentric part of the muscle up. I'll just put my feet down so that you can get a feel for what's happening nice and slow with our lowering into false grip. Thumbs are staying nice and close to the nipples, to the chest. And then as I'm lowering, what I want to do is think about getting my hips higher than the rings. So I'm going to do a little jump to assist myself, just for the moment, get my feet onto my bench and bring myself up back into my support hold position, just to get a feel for what's happening at the top of the movement. The hardest part is at the transition, and the key is to get the hips higher than the ring. So there's a bit of a kip, bit of timing with the legs. And then what you want to do is keep the elbows tucked in nice and tight to the body. So once again, I'm in my front support position. I'm lowering down into my negative muscle up. As I drop, maintaining my false grip, my hips go high and I push at that moment, keeping the elbows tucked in, nice and tight. Back up into my top position. Another technique to have some support or a spot for the backwards roll is using a stretchy band. So what we want to do is feed the stretchy band through both rings so that it's fairly tight, something like this, like so, and then that will offer us some support as we go down and over, like so. The backwards ring roll really does require timing and momentum. I'll try to do one super duper slow as I can manage. We'll see where I get to, just to illustrate how much harder it is when you're going slower. So generally with a lot of stuff, slower is better, but then there's certain things where a little bit of speed, a little bit of momentum actually helps you, and this is one of them. But let's see how slow I can try it. Nice and slow. Down we go. Oof. Oh! And that is about as slow as I can manage. So any slower than that and I just can't get the momentum. So the key here is to keep those arms in tight, tight. And then you want those legs to go up, hips high and over the rings, and then just fulcrum over on those arms of yours. If you've got a decent muscle up and this is still feeling like it's completely out of reach, the backwards roll, then here's a drill for you. A great drill to develop the strength required for the backwards roll is the ring turned out dip, or the RTO dip. So you may be familiar with your regular dips, which are just like this, maybe a bit better form than that, but you get the idea. The ring turned out dip, however, we turn the rings out and we push forward, oof, keeping the rings out. Like so. These are very demanding on the arms, the pecs, and they will develop the strength you need for that position in the backwards roll when you're going over this position here. That is where you need it to get back up. Have a play with that. Sets and reps for RTO dips, I would suggest working in reps of 3 to 5. They're very demanding. Taking a break for 2 minutes, doing 3 to 4 sets of those, and that should really get the arms and pecs prepared for the backwards roll. I don't know if you can see that down there. My little dog has taken my beautiful Tibetan cushion that I like to meditate on, and she has torn that up while I've been making this video. So that is the price. That is the price I'm willing to pay to give you this delicious content. So hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell button, drop a comment, help me out, because look at this mess. I've got to clean that up in a moment. So I've personally struggled a little bit using the band. Look at that. Oh, because it's a little hard to hold on to. It changes the nature of the false grip and the feel of the rings. But in terms of the spot or the support it can give you across the belly, very good. Just for giving you that extra 5, maybe 10% lift, depending on the strength of the band and your timing. But I recommend getting a chair out or a box or something, and just having an elevated surface to land your feet on, and just getting a feel for how much it's going to take to get from that loaded kind of RTO dip position up into your above ring position and back to the front support. A common question with working on the rings and strength in general is, how long will it all take? The answer is, it depends. I know that doesn't help much on your current strength levels, your adaptation to stimulus, how much you practice, the quality of that practice, etc. But for me, the ring roll didn't reveal itself for a few years into playing around with the rings. I started from scratch in my mid-30s. I'm 41 now. It took me a while to develop a muscle up. Then I went on to front rolls, and then I went on to backwards rolls and other things. So you can create some really cool flows using the backwards roll and incorporating all of the other elements, so it gets super fun. It does take time to develop this stuff. Be patient. It will come over time. I am probably about 5 years into playing on the rings now. It's been tremendous for upper body strength, coordination, agility, and all those beautiful stabilizers you get from the rings because the way they move. So stick with it. It will come. Just be diligent with your practice, be consistent, be sensible too, because there is a danger element with this stuff. You have to be careful of things like elbow tendonitis. I've got a video on that. So take care of yourself, take your time. There's no race with this stuff. You'll get there. That's it for the video. So please hit the like button, subscribe, turn the bell on, drop me a comment, and stick around for plenty more to come.